Hi, Leo. Welcome to your December 2020 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Man, oh man, oh man, I think you're going to like December. This is your kind of month. And one of the main reasons why is that there's a lot of Sagittarius energy. Now, not only is Sag a fellow fire sign, and so there's a very easy supportive angle between Leo and Sag called a trine. So it makes everything flow nicer. You know, when you're talking about angles, aspects, you're talking about how two planets or points cooperate with one another or, kind of interact with one another. So, the transing sun with your natal sun, for instance, if your sun is in Leo, that forms a trine. So it is very supportive of all kinds of things that you want to embody and even just accomplish, I would say, to some degree. And, sometimes when you, like, for instance, when the sun was in Scorpio, that formed a square. So there might have been a lot of frustration. You might have felt like you couldn't necessarily move forward. It doesn't mean, we don't want to say good or bad or something like that, but it just can be more pleasant. It can be more productive, just with the path of least resistance or whatever you want to call it. Not having a lot of obstacles in your way is probably the best way of looking at it. So, what makes it even better is that for you, Sagittarius is the fifth house, and that's the house that you rule. So, that is really awesome because when the sun is going into this sector, it's going into the area that you represent. And so, it's kind of like a sub influence of Leo. So, we have the solar return when the sun is in your sign, and that certainly is going to, in from late August or late July to late August. Obviously, we have that. And then, whatever your rising sign is, when you have the sun in that first house of the self, that can certainly feel like you're energized. But then this is another example of that. So, but I was shocked when I was compiling this list of how much was happening in Sag, and I was really looking forward to it because I'm a sun in Sagittarius. So on the first of the month, we have Mercury going into this fifth house. And, just to kind of refresh what the fifth house represents, it represents creativity, love. It's, if you own a business, it's your business. And certainly with Mercury, that can be about sales and your business affairs or any kind of communication that you're having. But with love, love, you could be communicating with somebody that you are interested in. Maybe it's not a full-blown love affair or anything like that, but you have an interest in somebody and you're talking to them a lot. The fifth house can be entertainment. Pleasure is connected to the fifth house. So anything that you find pleasurable, your hobbies. But with Mercury, there can be stuff that is verbal. So poetry, theater, if you're a writer, writing plays or poetry or any kind of, even a novel, I guess, could be part of that. But especially if it has a component of, yeah, that's creative, so that would work. But even like performance related as well. Leo, the house of Leo, and, you, just in general, are very much into creative self-expression. And so, yeah, all of these wonderful things. And then on the 14th, we have a solar eclipse here. So the solar eclipse is when the sun and the moon are aligned at the same, forming a conjunction at the same degree. In this case, it's at 23 Sag. So when I think of an eclipse, I think of some kind of a faded event, and also very I don't know, I think of something kind of sudden, or I don't even know if that's a good way of putting it, but kind of beyond your control. So to me, it could even be falling in love with somebody, love at first sight, or this feeling coming over you of like, this is the one. With a solar eclipse here, it's a new beginning, but it's very powerful new moon. So maybe there's an overwhelming feeling. Now, the South Node is transing through this house at the same time, and the North and South Nodes are connected to the eclipses, so that's not really a surprise. But since this is the South Node, and because the solar eclipse can create the possibility, if you're single, of having a lot of potential partners present themselves to you in the upcoming months. If you've had kind of a dry season, this might be the exact opposite of that. However, be careful about just gravitating towards somebody because they feel it feels like a familiar type of person. Like if you have a certain type that you're interested in, you might want to question that, especially if you haven't had success with maintaining a relationship. I always say that Leo is one of the lustiest signs, and Leo and Aries of the fire signs. And I feel that sometimes the physical attraction too much emphasis is placed on that, and that can lead to the person being very blinded by lust rather than really tuning into that other person and whether or not they're a good fit for them romantically, relationship related. Leo is a very romantic sign, though, so I'm not just saying you're just full of lust or anything like that. But so the good news is you may have your pick and you may be able to pick and choose between more than one person in the upcoming months if you're single and you're looking for a new relationship. The only thing is that because you're a fixed sign, Leo, you may tend to gravitate towards a certain type of person, and that can lead to possibly perpetuating that pattern that hasn't worked in the past. So with the South Node there, be careful, really scrutinize the people that you meet that you're thinking of getting involved with, because there may be somebody that is a karmic relationship, and I don't know that we have to automatically go into those relationships. We didn't, unless we have some kind of a soul contract. I think that we're going to meet up with people that we remember from past lives throughout our life, and they can feel familiar but not necessarily be the right ones for us. So the point of all of this is to say that this may give you a boost in your love life, as well as those people who are creative in your creative endeavors. This is a great time after the 14th to start your own business, because all the personal planets are direct and you have a sense of momentum going on. And we also have Mars in Leo, so I'm sorry, in Aries. So there's more fire energy for you. So that solar eclipse is happening on the 14th. On the 15th, we have Venus going into Sagittarius. So in that fifth house as well, and that is very romantic. So you're talking to somebody with Mercury there, then Venus goes in there, and you may start to have feelings for that person. This can also be money related, where you're getting money from some kind of a creative endeavor. The fifth house, like I think I said, is your hobbies. And so if you take a hobby and make it into a business, that would be an example as well. On the 17th, these are the events that we've been waiting for. The 17th, Saturn goes into Aquarius. The 19th, Jupiter goes into Aquarius. Now, I've been saying that I've been doing these readings for Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius, and I can't remember like which signs I've done and which signs I haven't. I still have a few more that I have to do, and so if I think about it, I'll link it below if I've done Leo and what this is going to mean for you to have Saturn and Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius, which for you will be this is your opposite sign, so it'll be the 7th house of committed partnership. Hey, with this solar eclipse and these two planets going into that marriage sector, this might be the time when Leos find the love of their lives, the person that they want to settle down with forever, for sure. Jupiter, I'll just say briefly, Saturn in the 7th can, if you are in a relationship, it can make you very, it can challenge your relationship in the sense, I read somewhere, when Saturn enters your 7th house, it can either, put the final, it can kind of like be the final blow to a relationship that is on the rocks, or it can strengthen a relationship, even if it is a little bit challenged. It might actually be, the opportunity for you to structure your relationship. Saturn is about structure. So an example would be if you're drifting apart with your partner, maybe you both love each other, but you're drifting apart. Perhaps you're working too much. Leo is a well-known workaholic, and you could have two people who are good people who love each other, but they just have been consumed by work. And they make a point to have a date night. That would be a form of structure. And that could still be romantic. And Jupiter can bring luck to this area and also abundance. So if you're looking, or expansion. So if you're like, I can't find anybody that I want to settle down with, you may find more than one person. And that might be kind of like, okay, who do I choose? That kind of thing. Also luck with lawsuits, if you have any of those legal matters. So I, like I said, I already have been making videos about this and kind of exploring it in depth, and I will link it if I've done one for Leo. If not, just check my channel. When I do it, it'll be there. Okay, so that's happening. And then on the 20th, Mercury goes into Capricorn. And so this is going to be more of a kind of a down-to-earth, getting back to brass tacks vibe. And this is going to lead into the next day when we have the winter solstice. I'll get to that in a second. But the sun is going to go into that 6th house as well. The 6th house is the house of work. It's the house of diet and health. So Mercury is the ruler of this house because it rules Virgo, which deals with this area. So you might, for whatever reason, be researching health stuff. So whether it's related to your diet or a particular health matter, or thinking about what you're going to do in this area, kind of strategizing. This could be speaking to an employer. If you're looking for a job, you might be talking, applying for jobs or what have you. Thinking about what kind of work you want to do. It could be another thing that's going on for you. So it's a very kind of more serious area than the 5th house, which is more romantic, creative, and fun. So the very next day, the sun goes into this arena. Winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. I always spell it S-O-U-L, solstice. And that's the time when the sun goes into Capricorn, the winter solstice, or the summer if you're in the southern hemisphere. I always wonder, if you're born in Australia or New Zealand, how do you deal with all of the images of winter, or of Christmas and the holiday season being snow and, Christmas trees and all of that? I'm assuming that you have that you get a lot of American movies. I don't know what the Australian film industry is like, if you just have mainly your own films or you get it from Hollywood. But most of those depictions are going to be of cold climates in December. So it's weird to think that there's half of the globe is like in a totally different reality. Okay. But this is also, besides being a power period, being a solstice time, it's also a time when Jupiter and Saturn are forming a conjunction in Aquarius. And that is, people are talking about the age of Aquarius, and we'll probably play that song from Hair a few times during that time just to get ourselves in the mood. But what does Aquarius represent? Aquarius represents the collective. It represents humanity as a whole. And that feeling that we're all connected no matter where we are in the world, and what is good for us as a whole, not as individuals. And this is what what distinguishes Aquarius from your sign, Leo, that is more celebrating the individual. And so it's just I think it'll be very important for you as it relates to the relationships that you form, the one-on-one relationships, I should say, in the next year. And so, like I said, you can find out more in-depth information about that on my other video that covers that. On the 29th, we're going to have a full moon at 8 degrees of Cancer. Cancer is a sign right before yours, Leo. So we're talking about a full moon in a water house. Yeah, boy, that's a real doozy, because it can bring up all of these emotions that are beneath the surface, that are repressed, are rejected, whatever you want to call it, that the person doesn't want to deal with. In this particular house, the 12th house, it's dealing with past lives. So it's even more about, it's about the unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, but also about past lives. And this is the house that we talk about with dreams. So there's a lot of psychic activity. There's, with the full moon, you're also talking about heightened psychic awareness. So people can dream more. I really have experienced this when it hit my 12th house, because I have a very big 12th house. So usually I'm having 2 full moons in this house. And just recently, I was noticing that I was actually dreaming. I don't usually remember my dreams, if I have any. And I'm usually thinking, I feel like a blank slate usually when I wake up, which is a nice feeling. But sometimes I feel weird, because other people can have all these vivid dreams, and sometimes they're very sophisticated and symbolic and spiritual. And I'm like, when I do have dreams, sometimes they're either weird or silly, or, kind of like bizarre, But in any case, this may be a time when you can have prophetic dreams, and sometimes these can help. Like, artists are helped by their dreams or inspired by their dreams sometimes, or if you have a problem that you're trying to solve, that can sometimes be how you access, your this area. I'd even call it like the super consciousness or the super conscious mind. And you're able to kind of figure out what to do based on this particular sector, and your dreams kind of help you to solve a problem. So another thing that can come up if you do meet somebody, you may have a dream that solidifies the fact that you're like, yes, this is, either this is my soulmate or this is somebody that I've definitely known before. I don't know. I mean, who knows how this will manifest for you, but it's a great time to let go of bad habits, because the 12th house can be addictions. And it's called the house of self-undoing. So all the ways that we trip ourselves up and prevent ourselves from, succeeding in certain areas of life. Okay, Leo, that's what I have for you. I hope that resonated. If you would like to look at 2021, if you would like to learn more about your natal chart, please check the link below. I have various types of astrological readings that explore different things, and so there's something for everyone. Take care. Bye.